Hi guys, welcome back to another day of Bookmas. I had the nicest day yesterday. For anyone that didn't see yesterday's video, I did my festive wintry edition of my series touring London's most iconic bookshops, and basically we just had a nice day out in London, seeing London all Christmassy, visiting some bookstores and buying a lot of books. So as you saw when I was unpacking them, I have a lot of books here to tell you about. I think one of my goals for 2026 is going to be setting a limit on my physical TBR, so this does not help that agenda. However, I am so excited with all of these. I'm so happy with all of these. I feel like there is so much range in here. This is probably the most diverse book haul I would go as far as to say I've ever done. In fact, it was definitely the most diverse book haul I've ever done. So I'm going to take you through each of the books. I think I'm also going to say what I predict, like what star rating I predict I'm going to give this book when I actually read it, because I'll be so interested to look back and see if like it's as good as I thought it was going to be when I first bought the book. I will also say that lots of these books I might have heard small things about, but I think that every single book that I've got here, I don't know loads about. Like I haven't watched a lot of reading vlogs of people reading these books, which I feel like is where I get my most in-depth information. So I feel like when we get to reading them, I'm going to be going into them pretty blind, which is also fun. Okay, right, let me start. I think I'm literally just going to start at the top of the pile and work my way down. So first on the list is Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastone. I haven't read any Cara Bastone before, but this book has been calling to me so much. I think it's maybe quite a summery read, but I'm away next week, so I could get to it very soon. I'm also away from kind of like February time next year, so I do feel like I've got some opportunity to read a summery book before actual summer comes next year. The story follows Lenny, a woman who has recently lost her best friend. She's going through a lot of grief and she's trying to work out how to put her life back together, and she's made a bit of a bucket list. I think she calls it her live again list. So after losing her best friend and being kind of, I think, very down and out for a period of time and grieving very hard, she makes a list that she wants to complete in order to kind of bring herself back to life a little bit. She also is a babysitter for, I think, like a 7-year-old girl. And the uncle of the 7-year-old girl that she babysits for is Miles. And Miles and Lenny kind of enter into a deal where Miles offers to help Lenny complete her live again list. He has a lot of experience of grief from his past and he kind of knows how to come out the other side of the worst of it. So he agrees to help Lenny with her live again list if Lenny helps him reconnect more with his niece. I think it's quite an emotional contemporary romance, but it feels like it has probably quite a heavy dose of women's fiction in there too, or that the women's fiction element is probably further at the forefront and then the romance is in there as well. I just think it sounds so wholesome and lovely and quite Annabelle Monaghan. I read Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan this like 2025 summer and I really loved it. I really loved it, and I loved that it had like a deeper emotional kind of alternative plot point to it than just the romance. So I think I'm really gonna like this. I can't wait to read it. In my mind, it's probably one that I will read relatively soon. I feel in the mood for a kind of heart-tuggy contemporary romance. Maybe atmosphere still impacting me. Will that book ever stop and leave me alone? I don't know, but maybe it's the atmosphere effect of like I just want that heart-tuggy feeling but romance associated. So first book, Promise Me Sunshine. Oh, and I think I will rate this, if it's done well it could be a 5-star, but I don't think I'll give it 5. I think I'll rate it 4.5. I think that's probably what this will get out of me. Next, going in a very different direction, I picked up The Will of the Many by James Islington. I mean, this is one of those like truly iconic books, and it has been like niggling in the back of my mind, and then I saw it there, and The Strength of the Few very recently came out, and I just thought, it's gotta happen. It's gotta happen. I don't know when it's gonna happen. This is a book that is a little bit more intimidating. I don't know how soon I'm gonna read it, but I want to. The plot of the story kind of gives me Red Rising energy. A boy from a lower class in the world joins an academy, and when he graduates, he's gonna join the civilized society, but he's actually there on a bit of a mission to try and infiltrate this academy and, I don't know, learn stuff, do stuff. I think the thing that makes this book so interesting that I hear talked about, that I think is like the thing that makes you want to know more about how that works, is the concept of the magical system in this book is that everybody has a certain amount of will. Will being like your drive, your strength, your focus, like your, I don't know, oomph. Everybody has a certain amount of it. And the lower you are in the, I guess, the class system, the more of your will you have to pass up to people that are higher up in the I guess the system than you. It's kind of like a pyramid. I think there is actually a picture of it in the front, but essentially you have to siphon off amounts of your will and pass it up the food chain, essentially. So those at the top get all of it and you at the bottom have less. And I think when you run out, you die. Oh, it's also a murder mystery. But the truth is that I've been sent to the academy to find answers, to solve a murder, to search for an ancient weapon, to uncover secrets that may tear the Republic apart. And that I will never ever cede my will to the empire that executed my family. Survive though, I will still have to rise through the academy's ranks. I will have to smile and make friends and pretend to be one of them and win. Because if I cannot, then those who want to control me, who know my real name, will no longer have any use for me. And if the hierarchy finds out who I truly am, they will kill me. Yeah, so there's like a hierarchy system. You have to pass your will up the chain. Those at the bottom are obviously faring way worse than those who are at the top. An academy, a murder, an ancient weapon, secrets. It's just meant to be one of those like mind-blowing books. I think I have the potential, again, I mean, I suppose every single book that I'm buying, I hope I could give it 5 stars. I think I have the potential for this to be 5 stars. I think I'm gonna go on 4.5 again. I think this is a book where once I get on to the second book in the series, then it could become like a 5-star series. I predict that this book might take me a minute to learn the magical system and get into it and like really kind of almost just know what's going on. And when that happens, it's always hard to say if being confused for the first period, like, is it like docks it down in the rankings, or if that doesn't matter. I guess it depends what the next 80-70% of the book does to you, but I think I'm gonna leave my predicted rating on 4.5, but I think this book has a lot of potential. Could also be quite a good book club pick, not gonna lie, because it's chunky. It could be one that we can kind of help each other get through, but it's meant to be like mind-alteringly, like just like a phenomenal adventure and a phenomenal story. Could genuinely be quite a good book club one. Next, I got the first book in a series I've been meaning to start for so long. Indigo Ridge by Devney Perry. The concept of these books sounds perfection to me. I think they are all interconnected standalones, but they are essentially contemporary romances with a murder mystery plot. Hello, yes please. I really don't know loads about the rest of the series, so I don't know if, I mean, it says that there is like the founding families of this, I feel like it's like a mountain town, like a small town in the mountains. There's a founding family of this town called the Edens, so I don't know if it's like a book per brother kind of a vibe like you get with other contemporary romance books or not, but the first book follows Quincy. She's the new chief of police of the town. She's obviously trying to make favour with the community. The Edens are the founding family, so I think they are quite a dominating presence in the community, but she doesn't get on with Griffin, who's one of the members of that family, or they had a one-night stand and it was a big mistake, something like that. But then there's a murder and someone is found dead on the Eden property, so on the property of this founding family. She then obviously has to investigate this murder. Ooh! As the clues to the murderer lead to one of Quincy's own, Griffin, who's the Eden man, realizes that she is more than he gave her credit for. Beautiful and intelligent, she proves hard to resist for him and the killer. Fun. So it's like a romance all intertwined with a murder mystery, and maybe the murderer is also after the chief of police. Okay, hold on a minute. Take everything I just said, except her name is not Quincy. Quincy is the name of the town. Her name is Winslow. Okay, read the back properly, Ellen. Yeah, her name isn't Quincy. Quincy is the name of the town. Her name is Winslow. Still very excited about this. I predict I'm gonna rate this 4.25. But again, I can't say this every single time. I'm gonna rate this I'm gonna predict my rating's gonna be 4.25. It could be a 5-star series. When I get my teeth into a good contemporary romance series, it has a lot of potential, but I'm feeling 4.25 because maybe, to me, it's something that has to be executed right, or it could end up being the murder mystery doesn't get enough attention and the romance doesn't get enough attention. It has to be like the perfect blend of the two, but if it is the perfect blend of the two, then look out. Look out. Like, who doesn't love a small town romance? They're not cowboys, but they're in a mountainous town. Gives similar energy. Next, we've got a book that I feel like was so popular this summer. I've just seen it on every shelf everywhere, and that is The Wedding People by Alison Espach. I'm not sure how you pronounce her surname. I do feel like I know a decent amount about this book. I've no idea how it ends, thank goodness, but I don't know how the plot solves itself, but I've just heard so many people talking about this book that I feel like I understand the premise pretty well. It's about a woman who goes to a hotel to unalive herself, and she ends up stumbling into the bathroom and bumps into the bride of a wedding party that have taken over this entire hotel, and it turns out that she's the only person staying at this hotel that isn't part of the wedding party. She ends up bumping into the bride. I think they have a conversation. The bride says, no, I'm not going to let you do that. Or I can't comprehend how she would tell the bride that's what she was there to do. But she ends up having a conversation with the bride. Maybe that's not it, but she ends up having a conversation with the bride, and it basically follows her observing and integrating with all these people that are there to attend the wedding, and I'm hoping results in her not committing that by the end of the book. Oh, this bride sounds like kind of a bitch. When the bride discovers her elaborate destination wedding could be ruined by a divorced and depressed stranger, she's furious. Lila has spent months accounting for every detail and every possible disaster, except for, well, Phoebe. Soon both women find their best laid plans derailed and an unlikely confidant in one another. Okay. Well, I hope she's furious in a way that ends up being funny, and not in a way that is like, you're just a raging bitch for being pissed off that somebody's so unhappy that they wanna... By the way, I don't have any issues with saying the word, but on certain platforms like Instagram and TikTok, I can't say your videos get banned if you say the word, so you have to say things like unalive, and I think YouTube is the same. I don't know, maybe I can actually say it on YouTube and my videos won't get like shadow banned, but anyway, for all intents and purposes, we're talking about unaliving. I've heard great things. I don't actually feel like I've heard that much in terms of I haven't seen that many people reading it, but I've just seen it everywhere. Like every single bookshop I go into, there's stacks of this, there's little, what do you call it, there's displays of it. It really feels like it was the book of the summer, and I just never really got to it. Excited to read it. I'm gonna predict this 4.25 or 4.25. The subject matter makes me nervous of it being a high rating, but I'm super intrigued to see what I think. It's one of those things that if it's not, I don't know. Basically, I just feel like surely I'm just gonna hate this bride because that just feels so insensitive. I don't know, like, you know what I mean? It could be icky. It depends how delicately. Topics such as depression and ideation of that nature or intent of that nature are super delicate. So I assume it's handled really well because of how popular this book is, but we'll see. 4/4.25 is my prediction. Next, going in the completely opposite direction again. I feel like I'm literally flip-flopping almost like per book, which I did not plan. But next we have City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I'm going to enter the Cassandra Clare universe. I didn't read these books when I was younger. I didn't even know about these books when I was younger. I'd never even heard of them, to be honest. This is a series that I've seen a lot like on TikTok. I don't know if I've necessarily seen many people on YouTube reading it. It could be a total error to try and enter into a epic fantasy story. I think there are 17 books out so far. I don't even know if it's completed, but there are 17 books out so far. And I think it's a book that everybody read when they were like 12. So I really am like going all the way back. And considering I've just like gone and bought the book, I know surprisingly little about it. I've just seen people on TikTok be like emotionally devastated by it. And they say it's like a Throne of Glass kind of epic thing where the first few books maybe feel a little bit childish, and then everything just picks up steam and it becomes epic. And I can only imagine, like, I love a series. I love a series so much because I love getting to spend that long with characters. And the thought of being able to get so invested in 17 books, I think for some people they'd be like, oh my gosh, no, like I just don't want to do that. I'm like, yes. I want to be 13 books deep into a series and just crashing out from all this stuff that I feel like I know about all these different people, and oh my gosh, where's it going to go? And I can't believe that happened, and I bet that's going to happen. And is that person going to fall in love with that person, or is that person going to die? Like, I love being so engrossed and involved. Like the Throne of Glass experience, right? When you're all the way in with the characters, like all the way in. That's what I want from this series. Like that's what I want from this series. I think this book could actually end up like a 3.75. I have heard that the first couple of books feel quite childish, and then it gets incredible and it doesn't matter what age you are. I am willing to put in the work. I need to do some research on how many books I need to put in the work for. If it's like 5, that might be asking a bit much of me. But if it's 1 or 2, like I'm happy to push through 1 or 2 books for like a life-altering fantasy experience. What I didn't know, which I'm now learning for the first time, it shows you how blindly we just buy books based on vibe and hype. I didn't know it was vampires and werewolves. We've got vampires, we're also in Brooklyn, we're in New York. Vampires in Brooklyn, werewolves in Manhattan, shadow hunters, which are a cadre of warriors dedicated to ridding the world of demons. Are we counting are the demons the vampires and the werewolves, or are there vampires, werewolves, and demons? Clary, I think is her name. Clary encounters the dark side of New York City and the dangers of forbidden love. Oh my gosh, it's a romance. Epic YA romance, oh my gosh, yes, give it to me now. I think I really love YA romance because you get so much plot. Discover the world of the Shadowhunters. Look how many books are on the back there. How many have we got there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got 10 books on the back here. Apparently there's 17. Here we go. City of Bones, The Mortal Instruments, Book 1. This is one of those series where you have to look up, or I chose to look up, the reading order, because there's like chronological reading order, and then there's published reading order, and there's lots of different series that are like interconnected series. We're not talking interconnected standalones, we're talking interconnected series. Apparently most people say you need to start with the Mortal Instruments, read 1 to 3 of Mortal Instruments, then you read like the Infernal Devices books, a few of those, then you come back to Mortal Instruments, then there's like a spin-off book. It's a whole thing. I love all that shit. Like, I love it. So I'm gonna enter on this epic thing. I'll let you know how I go, and I may summon you to join me, and then I'll tell you my reading order. It could be great, guys. It could be, 2026 could be a great reading year because of this series. I predict, / I hope. Next, very opposite again. This is a wild order that I'm reading these books out in. But next, the intrigue has finally got me, and I'm feeling ready to read I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline, is it Hartman? Yeah, by Jacqueline Hartman. This is also one of those books that I feel like I've seen everywhere. Very small. People say it's quite something, that emotionally, it's a book that really stays with you and packs a massive punch, which just makes me feel like I must read it, because a book that is that short but has the capacity to pack such a punch, I have to know what's in it. The only thing I will say, which I think is I think it's quite a serious book. Usually books that are this small are quite serious books. I think this is quite a serious book. It's about 39 women that live deep underground, imprisoned in a cage, and they don't know how they got there. They don't have any concept of time. They just have like some small recollections of their lives before. And then it's about one particular girl. It's not fun. I'm not laughing, I promise. It's about a particular girl who's kind of sat alone in the corner, and then soon it becomes clear that she is going to be the key to everyone's escape and survival in the strange world that awaits them. No. I think it's a very serious book. But has anyone else watched the series The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt? Because I loved that series. So hilarious, and so many just like truly iconic, like Titus from The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Like, Titus is probably one of my favorite TV characters ever. Like, he just was so iconic in so many ways. Like, I loved him. All I can think about when I read the back of this book is this just The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt? The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt is about a man who abducts these women. I think there's more like 6 of them, as opposed to 39. It is a very ominous premise for a story. I don't even need to say that out loud. It's obviously a very, very dark premise of a story. But The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, I think it's still on Netflix, if you haven't seen it, but it's a comedy about Kimmy, but these women, I think there's like 6 of them or something, who are taken by this man underground, and he keeps them underground as prisoners, basically, kind of like a cult. And then they manage to escape, and then the story basically follows them adjusting to this whole new world after having been kept underground with no access to literally anything for their entire lives since they were very little, and now these like grown women. So to me this kind of sounds the same. So I did have a little bit of a giggle thinking this was The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt in book form. I know that's not the case. I know this is going to be quite serious. I have no idea how much you can pack into this, but I'm so interested to read it. Oh, sorry, I had to change over my memory card. Always a sign that I've been yapping too long. Anyway, I Have Never Known Men, very interested to read it. Again, I don't know when I'm going to get to it. Very short, so it's probably one that I should just read and just know what happens in it. But it does sound kind of mind-altering. A vivid evocation of another world, alive with hope and dignity. For a very long time, the days went by, each just like the day before. Then I began to think, and everything changed. Let's see. Next, another book. I'm very excited to see what I think about it, because I don't know if this counts as like a modern day classic or if it's just one of those ones that's super iconic. But I bought The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I have heard such mixed things about this, right? Like, I know lots of people who have read both The Secret History and have read If We Were Villains, and they say, oh my gosh, If We Were Villains is way better. The Secret History is like just not as good as If We Were Villains. And I know other people who think the complete opposite. When I was buying this book, when I bought this in Hatchards, and I was checking out, the guy who was giving them to me was like, oh, this book is fantastic. Like, you're gonna have the best time. It's a truly, truly brilliant book. And I said to him, well, yes, I've read If We Were Villains. And he said, oh, so you've read the knockoff version, the one that's not as good. And I was like, well, I know what your opinion is then, buddy, but we will see. Truly deserving of the accolade modern classic. So it is considered a modern classic. I mean, it does sound ridiculously similar. So I don't know how If We Were Villains, like, I don't know if it's fine that it's completely similar, but it's about a group of students at an elite New England college, and they're studying classics, but when they go beyond the boundaries of normal morality, their lives are changed profoundly and forever. And I think it is the same thing. I think there's a murder, and then it's about the classmates and the fact that when they're studying the classics, I think they're studying Greece. I think they're studying ancient Greece. But when they're studying the classics, they start to behave in alignment with the works that they're studying, as opposed to their normal everyday personalities, and then something bad happens, and then it's like the aftermath of that. So that does sound ridiculously similar, but If We Were Villains was one of my favorite books of the entire year. 5 stars, total crash out worthy. I was obsessed. So I have to read the kind of original works. I have to read the If We Were Villains origin story, as it were, and I have to know what I think of this and if I prefer it, or if I prefer If We Were Villains. So Secret History, I'm gonna predict 4.5. 4.5, yeah, 4.5, because I think it probably won't hit as hard now that I've read If We Were Villains, because I've kind of got the premise, but I don't know if the plot is actually the same. It probably isn't actually the same, otherwise I would have heard more about it being similar, but I'm going to predict 4.5 because maybe some of the edge will be taken off by the fact that I've already read it, and I also do reckon that this will be a lot denser. I think it's going to be a slower book to get through than If We Were Villains, less fast-paced. And now onto the final book, which is another kind of TikTok-y bookster kind of recommendation. I finally picked up Heavenly Bodies. Who's it actually by? Heavenly Bodies by Imani Iriu. I'm not sure how to pronounce her surname, but Imani Iriu. I'm not sure. But it's a romantasy, and it's meant to be a fantastic one. Fallen Stars, which is I think only book 2. I hope it's only book 2, but I don't think I'm too far behind. But Fallen Stars has very recently come out, and I've just seen everybody going crazy over that book, and I want to know what all the fuss is about. So I picked up Heavenly Bodies, and I think it's about a world where stars rule, and they're not very nice, and there's a prophecy, and this girl called Elara has been prophesized that she is gonna fall in love with a star, and when she falls in love with this star, it will kill them both. And then this star descends in order to hunt her down. She's forced to either let enemy Prince Lorenzo train her into a weapon worthy of battling against the stars, or to accept her fate. There are shadows within the kingdom. They threaten to reveal darkness in somebody's past. There's ancient magic that slumbers in her veins. Of course there is. She's got to have powers of some description, and a star-crossed pull between them. Has everything you would want in a fantasy romance. Well, there you go. One of my all-time favourite romantasies ever. Infinity Stars. Can love overcome fate? A scorching romance, the best debut novel. Oh, it's a debut! We love supporting authors right from the off. There you go, I know very little, but stars and gods and kind of enemies to lovers and kind of maybe fated mates, maybe if there's a prophecy between the two of them, even though if it's a bad prophecy, I don't know. But I'm very excited about this one. This is going to be a good January read, I reckon. 'Tis the fantasy season, you know what I mean? I need to get in my fantasy a lot over the next couple of months before my fantasy game is over and we just enter lit fic and romance for the rest of the spring, summer. Although let's be real, more of the year is fantasy rather than not, because spring, summer doesn't last too long around here. Anyway, that is it. Oh, what do I predict? I'm gonna give Heavenly Bodies 4.5. 4.5, I predict. Yeah, 4.5. I don't know if I have strong enough vibes about it for it to be 5-star, but it could be. And there we have it. Those are all the books that I got. That is 8 books in total, which is a lot of damage to my poor bank account right before Christmas. This is my Christmas present to myself. Let me know if you've read any of these. Let me know if you think you want to read any of these. Let me know if you think any of these would be good book club picks. And I can't wait to get reading. I'm now gonna get all of these stacked onto the TBR shelves. But otherwise, that's a wrap on Bookmas 11. No, there's only one left. There's actually only one left tomorrow. I can't believe it. There's only one left. It's so sad. What a wild ride Bookmas has been so far. What a wild ride. As always, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for hanging out with me. I hope you're in the middle of a lovely book. I hope you're having such a lovely week, and I cannot wait to see you in the next one. Bye, guys.